Who didn't see this coming? A liberal bail reform group backed by woke celebrities like John Legend, Danny Glover, and Sir Richard Branson just shut down its Las Vegas chapter for the most predictable reason you can imagine. This career criminal was released just after the bail project paid $3 grand to bail him out on burglary charges. 6 days later, police say this guy tried to kill a man opening fire in a Las Vegas restaurant, shooting a waiter 11 times. That waiter survived and is now suing the organization. The criminal's rap sheet is a mile long: grand larceny, felony burglary, auto theft, and that's just in 3 short years. All right, so Kennedy, is this how we get these stupid bail projects to stop, is by having people who are injured by those who are released from the bail project sued and held financially accountable? Is that how this ends?
Yeah, that is actually how all of these things end. It's when someone realizes that someone else is accountable for their suffering and they go after them legally. That is the only thing that will make people sit up and pay attention. Some bail practices in this country have been horrific and have taken good people and put them in the system and eventually put them in prison for minor infractions. Those people should not be caught up in that. People who are violent, recidivist criminals who mean to do a great deal of harm, they should not be the ones who benefit from bail reform. That is not criminal justice reform. That is ignoring victims. That is making cities far less safe. And it is such an unsophisticated way of dealing with very, very serious problems. And they don't want to go, these people should be in prison. These people should not be in prison. Yes, we do over-incarcerate in this country, but that's not the way you fix it.
And Jessica, do liberals learn their lesson? Because you have, built-in levers. I mean, a judge and a DA, they're held accountable by voters. But also if grandma or your parents come in and pay your bail or bond, they're going to go, hey, listen, you're going to follow the rules. You're going to show up in court. You have someone looking over your shoulder. But when you have an outside group that the criminal doesn't know and they're sprung by that group, there's really no accountability. Do liberals kind of get the message that, hey, communities are less safe when we let these folks out of jail, not more safe?
Well, certainly in this instance, right, the group has been shut down now, and they did have a high show up for court rate. There was 91% of people that they had bailed out had shown up. It's pretty good odds, right, that someone is coming. But the thing that was most disturbing to me about this particular case is this guy was a schizophrenic. He had been diagnosed. It was known. It was part of his record. And he was bailed out and not taken to a treatment center or somewhere else. He was just released back on the street. And we know that one of the main problems with the homeless population are mental health issues. That's what's going on all over these big cities in Los Angeles, in New York, Chicago, San Francisco. So it's a real failing on the part of this group. And like Kennedy, there's no one-size-fits-all solution for this. There are a lot of people who don't deserve to be in jail because they can't pay this low bail amount. And there are a lot of people who do deserve to be kept in jail with no bail available to them until the end. And until we find a more nuanced way, and I know people make fun of me, Democrats love to say, oh, we need a little nuance. But until we find a nuanced way to deal with this, you can't make these blanket laws like what Illinois did with, no bail.
And Tyrus, I mean, I look at this and say, well, had this do-good bail group not stepped in and paid the bail, this guy would have still been in jail and not shot this waiter up 11 times. And now this defendant isn't going to be out, in a year for the first charges. He's actually got an 18-year prison sentence because he tried to commit homicide.
Failed miserably, 11 times. Wow. Here's my biggest problem with this. Celebrities love the virtue signal, right? And we're talking about the chapter is shut down, and the celebrities just wash their hands from it and walk away. But if you're going to stand behind something, if you're going to show up and put your face on it and get people to donate and support it, when something like this happens, you need to be accountable. Just like you're talking about grandma or mom bails you out, they usually had to put their house up or something of that matter. Well, these celebrities need to start putting things up to support things, because here's the deal. They might start looking at who's on the list, and they'll be like, you know what? Ooh, this guy's been arrested 17 times? Yeah, he's not a candidate. Opposed to this person who has never had a violent offender but seems to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and unpaid traffic or whatever the reason was, had a warrant for not. That's the guy you help out. The nonviolent, the guys who aren't robbing and pillaging. But there's no accountability for the virtue signaling. So what they do, they just shut down one chapter for a little while. Then they'll change the name and it'll show up somewhere else. And that's not, and then they'll go, but overall, John Legend's not going to be held accountable for this. He's not going to have to answer questions for
Well,
this.
if he's sued and they win, I mean, but it's not a ton of money. I think he's being sued for $15,000.
But they have insurances for that and this type of things. They're going to keep. This is the problem. Virtue signaling has to have a price tag on it. If you're going to support these reforms, and then you need to be held accountable for it. If you want to put your name on it to take the credit, like, look at all the good I've done. Look at all the people I've helped.
Yeah.
Oh, 4 of those people did horrible things? That's on me.
You should be on a billboard. But Katie, I mean, it seems like Democrats have a cesspool of bad ideas. So we had no bail in New York, no bail in New Jersey, and those policies have failed. Crime has skyrocketed. And so what has Illinois done with all the liberals? They said, listen, we should do the same thing, but go even further. No cash bail in Illinois.
Look, they're making a choice based on their ideology. You know, if you look at the ideology of these soft prosecutors, they believe that criminals have these kinds of rights because the system in America, the judicial system, has flaws, whether it's racism or there's too much funding for the police. They genuinely believe that. It's an ideology, which is why you're continuing to see them doing it. They don't actually care about victims' rights. They don't care about the people who are affected here. Thank God this person survived after being shot 11 times, but there's a lot of people who haven't survived as a result of this, and people who are shot are injured for life, and their lives are changed forever. And if you look at the record here of the criminal, he was arrested in November 2021 for burglary and theft. Well, a lot of people would argue that's nonviolent behavior, right? So therefore, he should be let out on bond. He should, not have severe consequences. If you allow nonviolent crimes or crimes that are not as serious to go undeterred or unpunished, they turn into bigger crimes like walking into a restaurant and shooting a waiter. It's a broken windows theory that we've seen work in a lot of places like New York City when there wasn't as much crime as there is now. So it's all about deterrence. It's all about making sure that people understand if they commit crimes, whether it's nonviolent or not, there's a punishment for it. And as you said, having consequences for people actually having skin in the game. Because these celebrities don't have to deal with this. They live in gated communities. They don't care if the waiter who works at the restaurant that they go to have dinner at gets hurt because they feel good about themselves.
But
so they don't have to deal with it.
There is a fine line, real quick. Somebody breaks in the house, I say that affects people. If somebody was home, there was a potential for violence. Someone who's smoking weed on the corner or something like that, that's not affecting anyone. I think if we start looking, what we're supposed to do is case by case, not the color of skin, it's the content of the character, the type of crimes. Non-violent crimes, I'm all for it. I don't think someone smoking weed or doing drugs should be in jail. But there's a victim, and a victim is, if I steal and drink all her water, she's thirsty, she's a victim. Okay, and you make that, then I should not go free. But if I slip something over here and drink it, there's a difference.
Well, we have to go, but that's why we have judges and DAs, and we give them discretion,
right.
and because every case is different.
But
and you have these
DAs who are screwing up the city.
But it's a few of them, right? It's a few of them. All right, we got to go.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.